So this is part 3 of the Notion workflow video. And in the past videos, we covered how to set up your kind of domain context for things like working on business. So Teleca's note-taking app, I'm working on content creation. We've got a couple of master databases in a system section for managing all our projects and our tasks, so that when we go into a given project, we can see the progress of those. We can see what we're working on. Content creation, for example, we can see I'm writing a book at the moment called Atomic Note Taking. I'm working on this video. Those are different projects. And then we created a global view of tasks where we can see the current tasks I need to focus on. This is anything that I'm working on today or I never completed from, say, yesterday. I can see all my tasks, any tasks I haven't actually scheduled when I'm going to do it in a due date, and any tasks that have slipped. So, for example, if I have a task that I didn't do and I put it in the past, then it will appear on my slipped. In other words, I need to go revisit when I'm going to do that. So what we want to focus on now is creating a focused day, and we want Notion to automatically create a focused day for us so that we don't have to go create a new page of what we're going to do today. It has all the views that we need, and every day we'll, instead of recurring tasks, we'll create that for us. But we'll also have some recurring tasks that then will tie into what we need to focus on that day. And then the two will sort of blend together. So every day you can see what you need to focus on. So to start with, we're going to create a system page here. This will be let's say system database. So we'll create a page within here, and it will contain a table. And we're going to create a new database called Daily Focus. CUS, if I can spell. And we'll just give that. I like to use some kind of circle to represent focus. Something like that. Actually, what you can do, I think that's it. Notion has these nice icons, which make things a bit better than the emojis here. Okay, so here's our daily focus. What goes in here? So I'm just going to rename this to focus days. So we want Notion to create a page that is what we're going to look at on every given day. And we can use this page to prompt maybe a bit of journaling of how we're feeling about our projects, what's going to get us unstuck with our projects. And then we'll create some views on the page that show the tasks that we want to focus on for that day. So we'll do this in a template. I'm just going to clear out this database so that it has nothing in there. And we'll go to create a new template. So a daily focus template. We don't need tags either. That doesn't really help us. But what we do need is a property for the date. But I can't use date because it won't automatically set it to the current day, but I can use creation time. So we'll track when it happens. That means we can filter the view so that it only shows us today, essentially, or puts it at the top. So this will be when we create a new one of these. I might have a section here where it's like, write about what you want to achieve today. What is blocking you from achieving your goals? Something like that. Maybe I would put that I'd probably take that section and lay it out. And then, so this is a daily prompt. Now we want to create a view of all the tasks that are what we want to focus on today. So let's create a table view. We'll link this to our tasks from our system. I'm just going to hide the table title there. Okay, so what goes in here? We can now think of this as being across all my projects. I don't need to worry about narrowing it down to a given project, because I might be working, I might want to do half an hour on something here and half an hour on something there. So what I'd like to do here is then say filter where the due day is, this is this week, is a day is relative to say, well, we'll just do an advanced one. It's easier to reason around. So it is on or before today. Okay. So now I can see everything that I want to focus on for today. And then I can change this to a Kanban view or a board view. And I want to group that by not projects, but status. So now I can see everything for today that I want to work on. And I've got these prompts here. I'm going to say, they can be expandable or collapsible prompts. I think what I can do is actually, let's tidy this up. Let's, is that toggle list, toggle heading. Okay, toggle heading 1. Move that into there. That totally didn't work. Let's paste that in there. So now I can toggle those. That way, once I've written them, I can collapse them down. And then another way of doing this, I believe, can I do it? I can't get a handle in. So, not put that. So I'm just trying to get the right part of the UI so I know where I'm putting it. Toggle heading. Probably should have put this heading 2s really, but get rid of that. So now I can put a couple of things in here, and then I was wondering whether I could move that over to the other side. So a way to do it. I'm not gonna worry too much about that. Anyway, we're in a template. This is our daily focus template. It has a view of the tasks that we want to do and has a creation time. So now what this means is in here, I want to create this every single day. And this is where we can repeat this. So I'm going to repeat it every day. But realistically, I'm not going to be doing it every day because I want the weekends off. I don't want to overwork myself. And I might have a daily focus just for the weekends. So what I want to do is I want to repeat it every week. But I want to do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I'll do it at midnight, so it creates it at midnight, save that. So now, every morning, I will get a new one of these pages, and it'll have the tasks that are focused for that day because it will use the relative day. If I look at older versions, the tasks will still be relative today, not relative to the focus day, which is a bit of a limitation to how Notion really works. But that's fine. It works for a purpose. So let's do an example. So imagine midnight has just rolled over. This gets created and it sits here. So now what I want to do is maybe sort this by the creation time descending. So that means that the most recent one will always be at the top of the list. And then maybe I want to change the layout to, I could do calendar view, or I could do gallery view, or let's try list view. I'll do gallery view. That will preview the card contents. Let's put none there. But that's fine. And then, actually what I will do is I will tweak that to show the creation time property. And I'll just do it relative. So today at 12:07 is when I created that. There we go. So now every day I will get a new one of these. I can also group this by created time. I believe what that will do is I have like today, last 7 days, and then anything older, which is quite nice. That way I get a nice separation of knowing where my current daily focus is. And then and that's fine. So what I would do then is I'd star this. So in my favorites, I've got all my tasks, and I've got my daily focus. And the idea here is I click into here. For me, I also want to change the behavior when I click into it. So in the layout, open pages in, it's got center peak. I want full page. So I click into it. Now I've got my full page. I believe I can at least on a Mac, it's Command, click there. I can have multiple tabs for those views. If I'm using the desktop app, then those tabs will sit in the desktop. So I like to have my daily focus tab open, and then maybe the projects that I'm working on, which is really quite nice to have that workflow. So this is how you create a daily focus view. Every day I'll get a fresh one of these. I can do a bit of a morning activity where I just want to write what's top of mind, what's frustrating me, whatever it is that is going to help unblock me in terms of getting into my projects and working on those. Just looking at this, one thing I would change here is I want to know what projects these things are related to. So in the template, we'll do that in the template. I'll delete this daily focus. It's nice to do all the edits in the template. Otherwise, you get frustrated because you realize that it's not happening on the new ones. So down here, I can edit the properties that I want shown. And I want to show the project. Maybe the state. Well, I don't need the status because in the columns there, so I can get rid of that. Maybe I'll put the due date, just so I know if it's slipped in the past. And then that means, so once that's all confirmed, so I create new, it will automatically create a new daily focus. Now, when it goes and queries all the tasks that I need to be thinking about, I can see which project that is. I can just click through into that project if I want to dive in and do some stuff there. But bear in mind, I believe that jumps you into the system part, not into your section over here, for example. So there you go. That is how you create the daily focus. Now, what else we want to do is actually set up some routines in our task management as well. Now, I could either do a routines database separately, or I can treat them just as tasks. For this case, I think I'll do it as tasks because then at least it appears as all tasks, for example. So let's go into our tasks here, and I'm going to create a new template for a task. And this might be something I want to do every day that keeps me on top of everything. So one task I like to have is to plan my tasks for the day. Doesn't have a project. Don't necessarily have a due date for it. And the status is that I've done it or not. But that's fine. So that, and then what I would do is I'd create a checklist of what I need to do to complete this task. So this would be to review, and then maybe I want to link to my all tasks database and correct any slipped tasks. So in there, I have a view that shows things that I didn't complete but had a due date in the past. I want to review my projects to find out to find what is to find the most important tasks to work on. And I can build up a kind of playbook of how I complete this recurring task. So that now sits here, and then what I can do, I can go and repeat this. I'll do it every week because I don't want to do it on weekends. That can be created every midnight. Save that. So now, if I demonstrate creating a new, not one of those, a new planned task for the day, if all goes according to plan, when I go to my daily focus, look at this. Didn't work. It didn't appear in my daily focus. So we need to debug this. What happened here? So I'm going to look at my task. So my planned task for today, not started. So it doesn't have a due date. Now that's really interesting because now I've got a bit of conflict in terms of planning things when I want to happen, but now I've got this field that I can't automatically place in. So how would we fix this? I want this to appear on my daily focus, but I don't want things that I've got on my backlog that I'm not working on. So what I can do, there are several ways I can do this. I think I'm going to go really simply maybe just create another status called routine. So we'll edit this. Or actually, I'll just create another so task type. I'll go specific here, just so I don't confuse myself. Edit this property. It is a select, and it's just a recurring task, which means if I tag it as a recurring task, now I know there's something special about this one. For some reason, that didn't tag. So now I can do some filtering on this. So my daily focus, I want to show my recurring tasks that are incomplete. So how do I do that? Let's go back to our template for our daily focus. So we edit this template. We need this view here to show recurring tasks as well. So we have a rule. That is where anything is due, I have to do it on or before. My recurring tasks don't have a due date. They just appear on the day they are to be done. One downside of that is if I don't do them, tomorrow I'll have another one and another one. It's my responsibility to clear those out and mark them as complete. So let's convert this into a group. So we've got this, and then we'll add another, or we'll say another group. So we either want everything like that, or where the status is to do or in progress, but not done. Well, include complete, I think, only because I want to see, I don't want it to disappear once I've moved it over. But there is a problem with that, and I'll show that in a moment. Add the filter group. So, I don't want another group, sorry. And the task type is recurring. Okay. So what do we got here? We now have the ability to see my recurring tasks. And it might be quite nice to show that task type, not status task type here. So I just know that it's my recurring task. Then I can move that across. Now the problem with this is when it creates another one in a different day. So let's say the system has created that one, and then tomorrow it goes and creates another one. And then the day after it creates another one, then we have a bit of a problem that when we go to our daily focus, I need to recreate this one. So because I edited the template, so create the daily focus. What's going to happen is I'm going to get it multiple times appearing here, even if I have moved them over in the past. So what's challenging here is that actually treating planned tasks versus recurring tasks is actually really quite difficult, because really we want to use the timestamp of that recurring task so that once they're done in the past, we don't care about it anymore. And while I can change this filter to say to exclude ones that are done, you don't get the satisfaction of, I move it over. No, interesting. Why is that not disappeared? That one is done. Because that one actually had a due date. But normally you wouldn't have that. So you move it over, then it would naturally disappear. So there are two ways of solving that. One, manually set a due date when these things appear. However, that's easy to forget. Or two, treat recurring tasks differently, and then don't use due days, use creation times. But actually, there's another way of solving this. We can use a custom formula. So this is going to get a bit more advanced. But in our tasks, we have a due date. If we create a creation time, So now we have a property that has the concept of when this thing was created. We can infer a due day based on our configured due, the one we explicitly set, or the creation time if it's a recurring task type. This is going to be interesting. So let's give this a go. So we're going to create a property, and it's going to be a formula. Oh, I clicked phone instead. Right, let's delete that. Add a property. It's a formula. Okay. We want this formula to be called, let's say, calculated due day. Due date. Now we need it to be either the set due day, or we need it to be the creation time if it's a recurring type. So first of all, if you're not familiar with formulas, you have a set of functions, you have a set of properties you can use. So we can use the, say, creation time, and there's a function called prop, and then created time is the literal text that I put up here. And then we can do some conditionals. So what are we going to say? If the prop, and then the prop is task type, how would I do contains? Contains. So we've got an example here where that's a text contains. Let's say equals. All right. So if, can I just do equals recurring? Then how does an if statement work? So if condition and then true or false. Let's do, true or false. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a test here. So it's true if that's set to recurring. And if I delete that, it's false if it's not. Great. So we know that we can do something if it's recurring or not. So now when we edit this formula, so if it's recurring, then we want to return the prop by, I can just click actually, so I can do return created time. Otherwise, return due day. Okay, so what does this give us? Calculated due day. If I remove that, it's empty, but if I set that, it sets it to that. I'm not so worried about the time that goes in, because that's a date property, and creation time includes the time. I think that's fine. But then if I change that back to be a recurring task type, then it uses the creation time, even if I've got the due day set. So I think that will do. It just means we don't have to set due days on our recurring tasks. So now we've got this new calculated due day property. So we go back to our daily focus, and we want it up here correctly on here. So we filter. So now when we go where due date is on or before today, we can say the calculated due date is on or before today. I then can say, or status is not started. And I think this is fine. I think I can get rid of this whole block now. So we remove that. But we just want to show where anything where it was, where the date is on or before today. I do need another group. And if it's in the past, then where the calculated date is today, and so if it's today, just show it, because I would move it over and I'll see my down column. But if it was before today, then I only want to show it if my status is to do or incomplete. Okay, I hope that is what we want. So, and of course, I should have done that in the template, not in today's focus. So today I've got set to work on that. Let's just have a look at what we have. So current tasks, all tasks. So this one is in the past and has a status that isn't done, has a creation time. Calculated due date is in the past. So that should have appeared on this focus view. So there's something not right. So this is the calculated, and then that needs to be an or condition. Okay, that's fine. The groups need to be or. I either want this or I want that, which is fine. So now I've got those things that I created, all of them today. They're all done. They will appear. But tomorrow, then in theory, they should disappear. These are all the things I haven't completed that I've in the past. Now, what's interesting is this one doesn't have a calculated due date, but it's still appearing, which means I haven't actually scheduled it in. So what's happened here is it thinks that the due date is in the past. And that now makes things a little more complicated because we have a formula. It's now confusing this. So I'm going to turn the date part of this calculation into another group where it's either before today and the calculated date is not empty. And let's see if that fixes it. It doesn't fix it. Is how do I thinks it's a date. So have I understood this problem correctly? So where and so where the calculated where the due date is before today and the status is not complete, or okay, that's looking healthier. So let's test this. I think I might have had an or instead of an and at one point. So if I look at all my tasks, and I'm just going to pick one of these, let's say this one here, write the first chapter. Let's say I was going to do it last Wednesday and it's in progress. Now on my daily focus, I should see write the first chapter in progress. Okay. That was pretty complicated. But you can see how you can build up these really complicated rule sets, but they're quite nuanced, but they really work. It means I can craft that workflow that I want. And once they're set, in theory, you can forget them. Unfortunately, I would need to recreate that in my recurring task. Up here, let me just... Yeah, so that would need updating. So where the due date, that would actually be calculated due date is before today, and the status is essentially not complete, so like that, or the status, and then this is where I want all the calculated due date, I can't remember what I put now, is today. Remove that, so I want to see everything today on all lanes, but anything in the past, I will just, I don't want to see my done column because I'll pick up things I don't want. And I think that is that there. Okay, right. We'll end this video here. In the next one, we're going to look at OKRs and key performance indicators. It's all very well having these nice snazzy projects, but how do I know if they're actually moving the needle and making everything become a success?